Will now call to order the Wednesday, May 21st, 2025 meeting of the Board of Delegates for the Quaker Valley Council of Governments. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do roll call, Patrick?
You got it. Aleppo Township.
Present.
Avalon Borough. Bell Acres. Bellevue.
Here.
Van Aven.
Here.
Van Aven Heights.
Here.
Edgeworth. Hemsworth.
Here.
Glen Osborne Borough.
Well, I'm gonna say I'm here, but it's a
Glenfield.
technicality.
Yes.
That's right.
Glenfield. Hayesville.
Here.
Killbuck.
Here.
Leet.
Here.
Leetsdale.
Here.
Sewickley.
Here.
And Sewickley Heights.
Here.
That's a quorum.
Okay.
And then
We will start our meeting tonight by skipping down under new business, item 12A. And we're going to start with the presentation by the Leadership Development Initiative on the topic of potential regional impacts of lowering Route 65 along Manchester and Chateau neighborhoods.
All right, Mark and company, you should be able to share your screen if you guys want to pull up the presentation. If not, I can pull up the one you sent me, but
All right. Yeah, I can share screen here and we'll get started.
And just for the record, Roberta from Avalon has joined.
All right. Are you seeing the presentation now?
We are.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks for giving us some time to speak with you here as we're kind of at the end of our involvement in this project, or nearing the end, I guess I should say. So I'm Mark Schimmel with the Leadership Development Initiative. Ramona, Dana, and Ashley are all on as well, that are also members of our cohort. So I know we've been here at a few meetings now, but just a quick recap of background. We're with the Leadership Development Initiative, which is part of Leadership Pittsburgh, Inc., and is a leadership development program that every year has a community impact project. In total, there were 49 of us in this cohort. That we're working on this particular community impact project, which was related to the Manchester Chateau neighborhoods, trying to reconnect those neighborhoods through potential changes to 65 and exploring potential impacts to that. So specifically, our goals really were to broaden what the impact is and getting feedback from the broader region, knowing that 65 doesn't only impact Manchester Chateau, but is a major transportation route in our region and particularly in your communities. So we had many of us going out to meetings and talking to people in person and over Zoom and phone calls and things like that. From all of your communities. So we thank you for all of you that participated and welcomed us at your meetings, to get feedback from all of you, and just to kind of give you an idea of what is going on. So we did have the town hall last week, which I know some were able to come to. So some of this will be kind of a recap of that. But want to share a little bit just from the beginning of what this whole project is that Manchester, specifically the Manchester Citizens Corporation is looking at, and then talking a little bit about the feedback that we heard from you. And then now that we're kind of at the end of our project, we really see this though as really the start of the conversation that will continue on after us. So talking a little bit more about what that looks like and what we would like to see and what Manchester would like to see moving forward. So I'll go through here. So the visual is kind of before the 65 was constructed. What the Manchester neighborhood looked like. Manchester and Chateau were actually combined into one neighborhood that were then divided as sorry, it keeps moving forward here, as the 65 came in. So this is the overhead now. And then you see aerial imagery of 60 or of Route 65 shortly after the construction. And now what it looks like now. What it looks like in the Manchester community on the other side of that underpass is the Chateau neighborhood. So you can see that pretty much completely divided now and have that big wall in front dividing those two communities. So Manchester worked with the federal government and elected officials to get the, sorry, to get an RCP pilot grant, which was for $1.4 million to explore potential either lowering or other potential changes to 65 to reconnect their communities. There are some examples of where this has happened and worked in the past. So you can see the Rochester Inner Loop East in 2013, which is the most recent, Chattanooga, Tennessee in 2022, and then also in 2022 in Milwaukee. And there's other examples like in Boston and Portland where they've actually put their highways underground. So other examples where this has happened in the past. These are some conceptual designs of what this could look like if these communities were reconnected. So there you saw kind of a under bridge where the communities would be connected. Here you can see a reimagined underpass that really focuses on the pedestrian experience and being able to connect those two communities, allowing for bike access, public art, and again, really connecting those communities. Again, another conceptual design of making this more pedestrian friendly, and really having that underpass really connect the two communities. So here again, you see what it looks like now, and then overlaying a conceptual design of what that could look like with a more pedestrian friendly environment to connect those two communities. This particular design would allow for Manchester is calling a Black Wall Street business district area that would actually be under the underpass and really connect those two communities and also have bike access, public art as well. So here's an overhead again of what it looks like now. And this would be a pedestrian bridge concept that would go over Route 65. This would be more enhancing the space under, which was what a lot of those concepts were. And this would be actually completely lowering 65 to more of a boulevard, and connecting the communities that way. And then this would also give, more greenery, better aesthetics, all of those things as well. So one of the options is that option, which would be the lowering of 65. Um, but there are the other options, which would be potentially looking at the space underneath, or the pedestrian bridge over. So really looking at several different options to really reconnect the two communities again. So I know that that was one of the things that we heard in terms of feedback was, what does this look like? What are we talking about? So wanted to give some more background in terms of, what we're talking about, and the potential changes that Manchester would like to see, and why. So then wanted to touch a little bit more on what we heard from all of your communities. Sorry, give me 1 second here. I'm going to stop share and see if I can change the animation. I didn't realize it was moving forward like that. All right, while I'm doing this, I'll continue talking as well too. So, wanted to share a little bit more about what we heard from all of your communities. So as I said, I know that one of the things we heard is kind of wanting to know what this looks like. And we will share these slides with you here today if you haven't gotten them already, which I think Patrick did send them in advance. So you can see the different the different concepts of potential changes that Manchester is currently using that grant that they got to explore with Michael Baker International. So there is the connection between Michael Baker International, who I knew did the prior study on Route 65 for the Quaker Valley COG a few years ago. They will be the same group that will be looking at the feasibility of some of these different options and what is the best option for potentially trying to lower or reconnect the Manchester Chateau communities in other ways through changes to 65. So that's, background of what they're looking at, what they're hoping to see. So some of the things I know that we heard from all of you is really the balance of 65 being a major transportation route, of how you're getting places, how you're getting to the city, how people are getting to businesses in your business areas. And then also that this is really a key aspect of your communities, something that's running directly through your communities and how that looks different in different parts of 65, some of them being more residential. So really trying to have the balance of that and understanding that any changes that might happen, you don't want those to affect commute times. And that's not only commute times to work, but we also heard from EMS, like the Quaker Valley Ambulance Authority, that shared that, this is the route that they're taking to get to the major hospitals in the city of Pittsburgh. And any changes to the commute time or transport time to get people to those hospitals, it's directly affecting those people's lives and safety as well. Um, we also understand that there is congestion already, and really one of the things that you would like to see from Route 65 is ways to kind of mitigate that congestion, and concerns that if there is more construction or if there are more traffic lights, then that's could further exacerbate that congestion. So we know in some of the communities already, there's been some construction on 65 that has caused some frustration with delays and things, route closures, lane closures, due to um, that construction and that congestion that's already occurring. We also heard a lot about safety. So I think one of the big things when it comes to safety is obviously the difference of the route along the different areas, and understanding that in some areas like Ben Avon, there's residential driveways that are going right out to the route, and how that presents different safety concerns. The different speed limits and people driving and not realizing or just ignoring that there's different speed limits along the route is definitely a concern as well, of people driving too fast through the area. We know through the previous study on Route 65 in areas like Emsworth, there was the recommendation of narrowing lanes and creating pocket turns to kind of slow down traffic and make intersections more safe. And we heard about Bell Acres is working on a traffic study, I believe, right now with PennDOT to look at making the intersection in their area more safe as well. We also heard about wanting the aesthetics to be better and placemaking of Route 65. So we know in Bellevue, you're looking at the boardwalk concept. In Glen Osborne, we heard about new flower beds and lighting and signage to try to improve the aesthetics. And we also know Emsworth had talked about wanting to make the entrances more appealing as well. And then finally, really looking at this in terms of economic development, knowing that there are some areas where there are businesses right along 65, and many other areas too. This is, a route that's providing access to your businesses, to your business districts, and really wanting to understand, or wanting Route 65 to continue to provide access to those businesses and be a driver of economic development. So I think in particular, when we look at the placemaking and aesthetics and the economic development, that really does connect back to what Manchester's goals are as well, for reconnecting their neighborhoods and their communities, and using that space to drive economic development, as you saw in those different concepts. Whether that's having businesses that are right under the underpass, or that's having a boulevard where they're then allowed or able to have businesses all along that boulevard as well. Wanting to try to start to make those connections of the things that you all would like to see, and the things that they would like to see as well, and really using some of this attention and the study that's being done on this to really drive, some potential changes and get people interested, particularly the state level officials, PennDOT, state representatives, and state senators that are going to be the ones to really drive this change. So on that note, like I said, we did have the town hall last week on Thursday, so a little bit less than a week from today. Like I said, I know some of you were able to attend. I know Patrick was there, Julie was there, and I believe others were there as well. At that town hall, we did have good attendance from those state level officials, and trying to get them involved and get them to know what Manchester is looking to do. Also talking about what we heard from all of you as well, and really kind of trying to build that coalition. So we had Senator Wayne Fontana was there. There was a representative from Devlin, or Senator Devlin Robinson's office that was there. We had representatives from both Representative Venkat's office and Representative Kincaid's office. And we also did invite Representative Gatos and her office as well, and have been in contact. So they were aware. We'll be sharing the information with them too. So trying to really, like I said, build that coalition, bring everyone together to kind of really drive change and hopefully get the changes that Manchester would like to see to Route 65, to drive their placemaking, aesthetics, economic development, and also considering safety, and balancing that with, the commute times and congestion, issues that you all are concerned with as well. So I think from here, we really would like to see this be, the conversation continue. So, like I said, our role as a leadership development initiative cohort is ending, and our time is ending, but really looking to hand this now to all of your communities, to Manchester, to really continue that conversation. And I know that you all have the intergovernmental agreement already on Route 65. One of the things that I think Manchester would like to see is kind of broadening that agreement to also include them, or I guess really the city of Pittsburgh in that agreement. So I know that that's going to be one of the asks that I believe will be upcoming from Manchester. And I know as Michael Baker International continues on their, really starts this feasibility study into looking at the different options, they want to continue to engage with your communities as well, to make sure that, whatever option it is that they recommend is kind of the best option. We're kind of looking at the pros and cons of all of these options, that your input, and your needs are also considered in all of that. So that is, what we wanted to talk about right now. Just wanted to share a little bit more about what it is that Manchester's actually looking at, the money that they got to look at this. Also share the work that we've done within your communities, some of what we've heard from all of you, and where we hope to see this go next. So happy to take any questions or comments, feedback from anyone here tonight. And again, thank you for your time tonight and your willingness to, connect with us in our cohort throughout this time as well.
We do have a question from Barbara.
Yes,
All right.
it seems like we get so far and then it's hard to proceed to the next step, which is a step, I understand. Would it be easier to form something? I know Route 8 did this, a commission would, rather than have the individual communities can go so far. COG can only go so far. So would it make sense to form a commission made up of not only the government, but the shop owner, people who have something there. And I don't know what makes a difference with a commission. What can a commission do that a group of people that are in government can't really do in the planning process?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. I think that that's something we can definitely recommend for further investigation and makes sense. I know one of the things that LaShawn from the MCC has really talked about is, making this coalition as broad as possible. So it's not just necessarily the individual governments, but trying to get, the state reps and state senators to, sign on that they want to see these changes and that they want to advocate for these changes as well. And I think including, business owners as well, and, potentially like the Chamber of Commerce and those types of things. As broad as the coalition can be and as many people there are that are advocating for this, I think as best that'd be great. Especially, I should say, advocating for this, but particularly advocating for this as kind of one voice or one unified group kind of advocating. Because I know we did hear from some communities, I think like Hayesville, who did go to PennDOT with all of their concerns and had a lot of concerns from residents and things like that about safety. And it sounded like the information didn't really get anywhere. But if it's multiple communities, if it's other elected officials, if it's business owners, I think as many as you can get together, kind of all driving for the same types of things or the same things in one voice, the more successful this will be.
The other thing that I know, sorry, about PennDOT is, and I've heard this now the last 20 years, is there's only been 3 deaths at the Hayesville light, for example, representing Glen Osborne. It's the same thing. It's like they don't have the data or get the data, or the data is hidden. I just heard a NPR podcast on that. Getting the data is kind of hidden in the PennDOT archives. You have to go ask for the right to know from PennDOT to get the data because they have it. They just don't say. So, I mean, just one other point that whenever you work, we all know it's a dangerous road, but somehow, and that it's rated, I mean, I've seen PennDOT maps, it's rated a D minus. And yet nothing's done to it to make it better. And we all tried to do it over the last, I will say, because I'm old, 30 years. And it gets to the point where you do the research, we don't really have a comprehensive plan, I think, is one of the problems. Because we all do things in our own communities and think broadly, which is what's great with the COG, but also what you're proposing with the Manchester. I think it's got to be, in my opinion, a commission formed that will have a plan, that will have people. We have the data and we have the options, but the trouble is the next steps.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. I think it also is good, the continuity, like I said, between the report that you all did with Michael Baker International, and them having all that data and everything they put together for that report, and now Michael Baker also being the ones to work on this feasibility study for Manchester. I think that there's a lot of continuity there to really, work with them too, to also put together a compelling case. Along with the commission to advocate for this. I will say too, I don't think I mentioned when I was talking about state officials, we did have a representative from PennDOT that did join virtually. His name was Mark Young, but he was taking notes and attending on behalf of Jason Zhang, who's the new district executive for PennDOT. So haven't heard anything, one way or another from them, but I know that they are aware and did attend the town hall, and so are engaged at least somewhat in these conversations.
Mark, this is Julie Barnes. I just want to give like just a little context. Like this group has been working for as long as I've been involved, maybe 5 years, to try to bring some visibility to the issue of Route 65. And in my mind, this is the farthest that we've gotten. And having Manchester get that grant has kind of shone a light on 65 in a new way. So if we can combine efforts, like you're saying, I love that Peter is involved, Michael Baker is involved in both parts. And when we made a list, some COG members, a Route 65 committee, subcommittee of the COG made a list of stakeholders last year that Patrick put together like on a GIS map, where we were trying to identify who we thought might be appropriate to ask to be part of a commission. And we didn't get to that stage, partially because we're just volunteers. And then also because it was hard to get PennDOT to the table and SPC. We talked to various officials from both of those entities, but we're not able to get like consistent information about what our next steps would be. So even the information was a little bit contradictory depending on who we were talking to. But I think last week when I attended the town hall, it seemed like the stakeholders that would be appropriate for a commission were sort of starting to become apparent. So like, for example, Hyatt Development, I don't know if it's appropriate for PennDOT to be part of the commission or if they are the authority that the commission is recommending to. But the fact that there was a PennDOT person and then the developers and the Manchester Citizens Corporation and the QV and you could start to see who would be the appropriate stakeholders for a commission. So I'll just put that out there. Is it like in my mind, I could start to see it come to like it became there was more clarity there than what we had in the past several years.
Yeah, and the one thing I did not mention yet either is that we are also, before we exit this project, hopefully by next week or the end of this week, we will have a website up as well. That takes a lot of this information that we've kind of been gathering from the different communities and also, trying to put together all of these different studies that have been done in the past and getting that information into one place. Also sharing ways to provide additional feedback. So I think that also is a great start towards a commission and, could potentially be transitioned into like a web page for a commission if that's the route that everyone goes kind of after we exit the project. So there will definitely be that too. That could be a good start towards a commission as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a question. This is Daryl Hartman. What's the population of the Chateau neighborhood?
So the Chateau neighborhood right now is like
7
hardly
people?
anybody in that neighborhood. Yeah.
7
It's
people.
not very residential. I forget what it actually is, but I think it's,
It's
less
7.
than 50
Yeah.
people, if
Yeah.
even that. Because right
I looked
now
at
it's
I looked at the data. It's 7. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So it's all industrial there now.
It is. Totally
So
industrial. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
I, I I was around when 65 went down into the Manchester area, and it was a bit of a nightmare getting downtown ever. So whatever's done, it has to make the only part of 65 that actually works, which is from the Keys Rocks Bridge to downtown. It has to flow at that rate or better, or else it's not going to work. It's not going to fly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, understood. And I know that, like I said, that was one of the things that we heard from all of your communities was, commute times and concerns that any changes don't impact commute times. That was also brought up at the town hall. So
Good.
I know that that's definitely an issue that's been raised. And so hopefully, if they do decide that the best way is lowering, there's ways to mitigate commute times, and so that to ensure that those aren't affected, or there's other options that potentially don't really change the actual structure of the road, which would be like the underpass, underneath, or kind of a bridge over top for pedestrians, being two of the other options.
Okay.
Paul Getz, Hemsworth Borough. I'm the same age as Daryl, so I remember the old way you used to get on there. The two things to me is the city needs to take ownership of that area. Going down through there, it's a rubbish dump. It looks like a garbage truck went through and opened the back door and just let everything fly out, especially around the McKees Rocks Bridge. And where all of the really nice looking advertisement boards are there, they aren't maintained. The grass is already knee high. If you want to welcome somebody to Pittsburgh, there's your perfect example. Having them come in as if that was in Emsworth, we'd have code enforcement down there making sure the grass got cut, it got maintained. Public Works, whoever has to get on, there needs to be a better appearance. And the one slide you showed with the trees, they did have trees down there about 4 or 5 years ago. And they were looking really good. And we either got a really bad winter, they used too much road salt or something. Now there's nothing down there. They came through, ripped all the trees out, and it's back to concrete. So somebody has to take ownership of that area to maintain it. If you're going to spend that kind of money to address it, the city probably is the one that should take ownership. You can tell them they're doing it for the draft next year, like everything else that's getting done. All of us, say it'll look better for the draft. Thank you.
The one thing I related to that, and then also kind of going back to your comment, Daryl, and touching on something Julie said as well. There is so Piat is the company that is developing the Chateau neighborhood, has a planned development for the Chateau neighborhood. So that area will, if those plans all come to fruition, will become more residential. So they are looking to build and develop in that area. It would be a mixed use development where they're going to have shopping and housing. Also that Ferris wheel, if you've seen that rendering as well. So there is plans for Chateau to become more residential and not just industrial. And
Some
yeah.
apartments in the penitentiary. Yeah.
So,
Any other closing thoughts for Mark and his team? And I would cite again, Mark and his group of volunteers. We're sort of trying to be a conduit here. There will be a continuation of that probably for the next, I don't know, 6 to 8 months, with Michael Baker International, who's the appointed engineering firm that will be, sort of taking the lead on that grant. The over $1 million that was provided through the Reconnecting Communities grant. So I would expect that a lot of these conversations will continue, but LDI and their volunteers really tried to kickstart this, and I think they did a great job on involving us. Thank you all. I know there was, I don't know, like 40 of you that were associated with this, reaching out to all our communities, and as all of us can attest, getting people to volunteer their time to speak on just about anything is not easy. So thanks again for all of your efforts and time. I will provide those slides that were mentioned that were at the town hall last week to the group following our meeting this evening. So
Thank you.
if you have any questions, again, we can funnel those over to our friends at Michael Baker to sort of continue on those conversations. And thanks again, Mark. Thanks again, everyone on the call from LDI. you guys want to head out or just stick around, whatever you want to do.
All right, sounds good.
Patrick, I did have one question for Mr. Chimmel. You had mentioned, this is Roberta in Avalon. You had
Yeah.
mentioned that the LDI is going to be creating a website and it
Yes.
should be up and running soon. Do you know the name of it yet, or can you pass it along to Patrick to get it out to all of us?
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was just gonna say. I will make sure to pass along the website information to Patrick once that is fully up and running, as well as other materials. I know we have some materials from the town hall as well that can be distributed too. So yeah, we're wrapping up, but we're not completely done. And so I'll definitely make sure to pass along any of our kind of closing materials to Patrick to pass along to all of you before we're fully done with the project.
Okay, so thank you and your whole cohort this spring for doing all this for us in the community. You're really stepping away as individuals, but the information will always be there for us and LaShawn and the MCC and et cetera.
Yes. Yep. 100%.
All right, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, guys.
Good night, everyone.
All right,
Good
you
night.
too.
Good night.
Okay. Let's jump back up in our agenda to item number 4, public comment. I don't think we have anyone from the public online. Okay, so we will move on to item number 5. Approval of the April 16th, 2025 meeting minutes. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments about the minutes? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to item number 6, approval of April financial reports, unpaid bills list, and payroll summary.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Patrick, you wanna?
Yeah, I would just note, we're in really good financial shape right now. Everyone's dues are paid up. It's kind of a slower part of the year for spending wise. We bills again, status quo. We're gonna, really start to see a lot of grant expenditures coming up in the next couple months as projects really kicked off. They went out to bid in the spring. They're starting to get fired up now, so you'll see various updates within our grant status report and payments out to contractors as those things start to wind down. But yeah, everything's looking good.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay, now president's report. So, in case anyone doesn't know, Miss Barbara Carrier has moved out of Glen Osborne. So she could not serve as the representative from Glen Osborne anymore. And so she unfortunately is not going to be able to serve as president of the COG. And since I've been serving as vice president, I'm taking on the role of president. And so I'm going to be running the meetings. So first I want to thank you, Barbara. Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
Barbara. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that I'll speak for myself, but I've enjoyed watching you work and watching you lead the group with good ideas and openness and grace. And I know you've just served the community for many, many years, and maybe you can still be on the COG. You'll figure that out later.
Yeah, I would love to be back on the
Yeah. But thank you so much for everything that you've done and all the time that you spent working with Patrick and all just the focus that you've put on the issues for our neighborhoods. And then for the rest of the group, I look forward to working with all of the delegates and leading the group with Patrick. And if anyone has any ideas or questions for me or comments for me or anything that you want to talk about, I am not usually around my computer, so it'd be best to text me, and I will send an email to all the delegates with my cell phone number so that you can keep that, and if you text me, that will be the best way to get in touch with me, because I am never looking at my email. And then finally, I just want to say congratulations to Patrick, who won a spot on the November ballot for Whitehall Council member.
Good.
Well,
Yesterday.
Congratulations.
Patrick.
Thank you. It was,
Yeah.
to that point, I going through what you guys have to go through elections, I have a brand new appreciation, you know, as far as all the nuance of, you know, getting on the primary ballot, running and actually going to every single community event you can
Yeah.
possibly go to, and, you know, knocking on doors and handing out flyers, having your family come out and do that. That was really fun yesterday. Having the family come out and do that. But, you know, I learned, that was a learning experience, and I have a whole new appreciation for everything that you guys do. So that was kind of a, you know, cool little time there. But yeah,
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
congratulations, Patrick.
hell of a
So-
job.
thank you.
Running is
Yes.
the fun part.
Yeah.
Sitting in meetings, that's the other part.
All right, so that's it for my president's report. And moving on to item number 8 is Route 65 report.
I think there's really nothing to report after the LDI discussion. I sort of wanted to
Yeah.
tie that in as an agenda item as well. So
Okay.
nothing to report there. So
Okay, item 9, Emergency Preparedness Committee update.
we'll be meeting with the emergency preparedness group tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Barbara, I don't know if you wanted to just pop in and say goodbye to everybody, or it's up to you. But
I can do that.
perfect.
I've been popping in and out of things all week.
But you know, Barbara was a big part of that group, and so Bill Monsky will be taking up the reins as Glenn Osborne's representative for that group, and yeah, I sent a reminder out, so we'll have that tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Any questions or comments about the Emergency Preparedness Committee? Okay,
Where does that all stand? In terms of getting to a complete passage of all the municipalities.
Uh-huh.
for emergency preparedness.
So it's the term is sort of vague and generic for that group, but more or less all 3 communities at the same time are looking to update their emergency operations plans that are sort of annually sent out by the county, and then you have to personalize them a little bit to your individual towns. You know, who do you call if this happens? You know, where are the storage supplies at? So they all 3 have been working over the last close to a year now to get those plans up to speed. And they're 3 of our smallest communities. So a lot of this is just volunteer time, and gives them a chance to sort of piggyback off one another and ping pong ideas off each other. So slow but steady wins the race, right, Barbara?
Question, do they share the emergency management coordinator then?
They don't all have a joint one, no.
No.
Right. So let's see if I can clarify. So every municipality has to have their own emergency management coordinator,
Right.
and they would be responsible for doing the preparedness plan for that municipality. But because of the issues that we have down at that Hayesville light with the train and all the traffic issues, those 3 got together. Yeah, those 3 got together to try to like plan together. So it's not I don't think it is the emergency managers that are getting together,
No,
right?
these are
It's
just
3 individuals from those.
Well, the managers
those-
are part of the meeting.
And
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bill
Okay.
is and
Yeah.
Amy, or Amanda is. Amanda, you're the emergency
Are
operations.
the-
Yes, I am.
And they are, I must say, we've gone further than we've ever gone before,
Oh, good.
to use a Star Wars term.
Mhm.
But also, by meeting like this, we have learned what we lack. And what we need to do for next steps. I mean, Bill Monsky is very good at going to the county meetings and learning from them.
Oh, wow.
And then next comes training as you know, the council.
Mm.
So it has been beneficial. And one committee, it's such a place that I would say off of the county agenda, there are ways that we are developing to cross the tracks. If something should happen, because there's no way out for those residents.
Mhm.
if something should have on the train or on the boulevard with a truck. So those scenarios are being worked out.
Yeah. Leetsdale has a similar
Yes, they do.
situation.
Yeah, we very much do, yeah.
And you've participated, Maria, every once in a while, I know.
Okay. So is that a possibility, Patrick, if Leeds still wanted to,
Anything's a
Alright.
possibility, sure. I
Yeah.
mean,
the committee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no rules about who can be a part of it. It was just really, they all kind of, they all kind of about each other and have
Yeah.
limited staff capacity.
Right.
So it's like, hey, let's see what we're all up to and see how we can do it. But absolutely, if Leedsdale's interested in joining tomorrow evening, I
Okay,
can,
well, yeah, let me run it past our people then. Thank you very much.
absolutely.
Okay, anything else on that topic?
No.
All right, let's move on to grant status report.
Yeah, so as noted, April and March are our busy bidding seasons, and then April, May, June are really when these projects get up and going. As Julie's seen, a lot of these project contracts, because we don't get them until about 3 months before they expire from the county, we go through a lot of extension requests as well. So a lot of that's been going on over the last few weeks since we last met. But yeah, I mean, again, it's exciting to finally start to see some of these things come to fruition. The main thing about this grant report is for you guys, so you can see what's going on in your communities. Whenever you see things linger around there, don't really change. If you see like that was there in the exact same language 3 months ago, good opportunity to reach out to your manager, secretary, or engineer to be like, hey, what's going on here? Or me, to ask me questions you might have. But there's always some new wrinkle in here. And again, if there's any questions about specific projects in your towns, please let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions or comments
You can
on
see
the
it's 4
grant
pages
status?
this month. That's long.
Yeah.
Very long.
Okay, let's move along to the executive director's report.
So I wanted to update the group about the tree adoption event we had. So I got some data from our friends in Tree Pittsburgh. We had 62 households total adopt a tree. So some houses got maybe 1 or 2 extra trees amongst our 13 member communities. So just to show like sort of the representation that we had involvement from pretty much every QB member community for the event. So obviously some had more than others, but I was really happy to see that where, everyone advertising the event and putting it on your websites and Facebook pages really paid off there. So, I hope to bring that event back next year or sometime. So thank you for everyone for helping out, getting that word out. Next up, obviously, I wanted to highlight Barbara. Barbara took over as president when I was about, I don't know, 8 months into the job.
Yeah.
So just to start to I was just getting familiar, but working with Barbara gave me a lot of confidence. Working with the president in this role, it's a once a week kind of deal where you touch base, you're going over everything that's going on, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages. So I got to know Barbara very well, I feel like. And, every Monday at 10 o'clock, it's like, oh, it's Barbara time, right? So it really became the routine. As I'm sure Julie will we'll get to know each other very well. And
I missed your call. I was
Yes.
ready for it this
Aw.
Monday.
so again, you hear like you get to catch up on everything going on with the family too. So she's been a great resource for me to learn from, and will be dearly missed. And I wish her well
Thank you.
in her public service retirement. But there's never an end. There's always an opportunity somewhere down the road, I'm sure. So
Feel free to tap me if you ever need me. I'll be there. And thank you.
Mhm. Also, I think we know we passed the 250th American anniversary of the Declaration of Independence last month. That resolution, we put a letter of support, sent it to the organization through Pennsylvania. I know that Maria in Leetsdale, she was putting together a grant application, which is really why I wanted to highlight that. Any of our communities that are looking to do an event next year for the 4th of July, there's $500,000 that's out there. So throw your application in. The worst they can tell you is no, right? You can't play if you don't. You can't win if you don't play. So
Right.
I think it's a great opportunity out there to pick up some money. Bless you.
Thank you.
Also, next Wednesday we'll have our managers and secretaries picnic. So every year, this has kind of been an ongoing tradition since it took over. We get together in Avalon Bros Community Park. So all the administrative staff, is all the staff, secretaries, managers, finance directors, whoever it might be, is welcome to attend. We encourage it. We have it catered by the Bridgeside Market here in Sewickley. So hopefully we get nice weather. We've never had rain, but sometimes it's pretty hot. So hoping for good weather next Wednesday. It'll start at 11, usually hang around until 1. But really neat opportunity for everyone to see each other in person and enjoy some good food. So excited for that. Also, just wanted to highlight, I did attend the Manchester Citizens Corporation Town Hall last week on the 15th. It was a good turnout. A lot of people on Zoom. It seemed like, probably about 40-ish people, all said and done, were participating. To the point was made, there was a lot of representation from elected officials at the state level. So maybe not the actual elected officials, but their staff and liaisons. So very positive on that front. And, I hope to continue to, be invited and invite you all to participate in these things to keep the conversation going. That's my report.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. All right, moving on to new business. We already finished our presentation from the Leadership Development Initiative. So moving down to B, reappointment of Mr. Jeffrey Eck to the QV Uniform Construction Code Board of Appeals.
Just realized I'm not sharing my screen. So there we go. So yeah, every 3 years, the terms of the Uniform Construction Code Board members expires. So I just have let this lapse. So Mr. Jeffrey Eck's term lapsed like 2 years ago. So we had some rumblings of maybe the board would be convened to have a case and an example in Bellevue. That never happened. Very very little interaction with our UCC board. But I was like, you know what, we should probably get this in the books and get his dates right. So I reached out to Mr. Eck, who is a Kilduck Township resident, and he was all in for continuing to serve. So his new term would expire on September 1st, 2026. So yeah, I'm bringing his appointment to the board.
Yeah, so we just need a motion, right, to make that appointment. Anyone?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Patrick, what was it? The Uniform Construction
Yeah, the
Code?
Construction Court Code Board of Appeals. So more or less, if there's a new residential building that's constructed in your community and the code enforcement official or the third-party consultant that you utilize deems something deficient in whatever it might be, like the door frame, or I don't know, I'm not really well versed on building codes, but this board could be a appeals board for the resident to say, hey, I think your interpretation of the Uniform Construction Code is incorrect. To give you an example of how infrequently it's used, I've been here for going on 4.5 years. It's never been convened. So it's one of those things where you have to have one in your municipalities, for boroughs at least, I'm not sure about townships, but you have to have one. And this was created through the QB because at the time, 12 communities were like, we don't want to have to find 3 volunteers for this. So we created it to sort of offset that responsibility. So if by some chance there is a case that you need to have, we can provide that to you.
And it's truly a neutral third party looking at it. Most of them don't live in the municipality.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Julie. So if the service is for the borough to dispute what their engineer would find, or it's for a tenant or a homeowner who would actually go to the service and utilize it, and then how do people even know it's there, I guess?
Yeah, so the resident would come to the borough and say, your official or your appointed delegate as your official was wrong. And they would fill out an application and say, we are disputing your ruling about our door frame or our basement renovation or whatever the case might be. And then the borough would say, oh no, what do we do? Oh wait, the QB has the UCC board. We would contact Mr. Eck and the other 2 members and say, hey, we have a case and we have a set of bylaws for them, and it would be a learning experience probably for those 3 and myself. So my guess is we probably won't have that convened, but it is there on the books if you guys need it. And it often gets confused with the property maintenance code, we get a lot, that's where this always gets brought up. It's like, hey, someone's disputing our ruling on their grass being too high. Can that UCC Board of Appeals do that? I'm like, no, that's a totally separate thing. So this is strictly for the Uniform Construction Code.
Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to double check who it would be servicing. So thank you.
Okay,
Part
yeah.
two to that. So we did have one of the 3 delegates that I reached out to. They weren't interested in serving again. So we have 2 members out of the 3 right now. And I wanted to put that call to arms out to the group and see if you have anyone that's interested in public service that maybe has a background in the trades or background in, code enforcement of some sort. I have a little write-up I put on the website, and I can send it out to the group too, along with our presentation. But we definitely love interested people to apply. And there's a, pretty vague set of requirements, as well as they have to have at least 5 years experience in their given trade. So
And they cannot be an elected official.
it cannot be an elected official. So qualified candidates have a minimum of 5 years of education / professional experience in the building trades. So again, if you think you have somebody in mind, let me know. We'll keep this advertisement on the website, and I'll probably put it in our executive director's report for next month, and just keep periodically reminding people if they have anyone that's looking to serve, or somebody that knows somebody that works in the building trades, that probably will never actually be convened. Let them know that this is an opportunity.
Low commitment.
Yeah.
You keep saying that.
Not well known.
Yeah.
It'll be a learning experience.
All right, we have a motion to reappoint Mr. Jeffrey Eck to the QV Uniform Construction Code Board of Appeals.
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to a proclamation honoring Miss Barbara Carrier for her service to the QV.
So to the point of Barbara's departure from our organization, I wanted to make sure that we had something on the books here to honor her for her many years of service, not only to us, but to Glen Osborne Borough and to the region as a whole. So I put together this little proclamation. Joel, did you want to read it, or do you want me to do it?
I'll read it.
Up to you.
Sure.
Okay, it's right here.
All right, let's see if I can see it. Whereas public service is a noble calling which often provides a variety of challenges and rewards to those who seek it. And whereas the ability for a local government to provide responsive, innovative, and effective service to its residents depends on the outstanding performance of dedicated public servants. And whereas Miss Barbara Carrier chose the path of public service beginning in 1986, when she was hired as a teacher within Swickley Academy. And whereas since January of 2014, Barbara has served as the mayor for Glen Osborne Borough. And whereas prior to being elected mayor, Barbara served on the borough's planning commission and council. And whereas for the last 2 decades, Barbara has been a regional leader for the Quaker Valley, where she has led the mayor's breakfast group and worked with local first responders to ensure the safety and well-being of residents and business owners. And whereas, in addition to municipal leadership, Barbara has also become an invaluable team member for multiple boards and organizations, including the Fern Hollow Nature Center, Mary Roberts Reinhardt Nature Park, and the Quaker Valley Council of Governments, where she has served as board president since 2022. And whereas it is essential and proper to recognize the tremendous impact of public servants within QVCOG member communities. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the QVCOG formally recognizes the extraordinary public service of Miss Barbara Carrier. Should I read the rest?
Yeah.
Duly passed and proclaimed on this 21st day of May of the year 2025 by the Board of Delegates of the Quaker Valley Council of Governments.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. I do have to say the Quaker Valley COG is dear to my heart. And as I tell people, it started with the Walmart and Killbug. We're working on that committee. I realized that what happens in one community affects the other communities. And how much it would affect the Walmart being established at that spot. And the Quaker Valley COG is a perfect place in my mind where communities talk to one another, interact with one another, work together on projects that Route 65, which even though it may not go through our community, we drive it and it's never fun. But I do also realize that the change that the Quaker Valley COG has gone through. And the year 2000, in Glen Osborne, I have to admit, the representative to the COG was chosen by a hat. And you got a date where you attended the COG. That probably don't want me to let that out. But I have watched this COG change from where it's supplied and needed, different, like tractors to different communities would share, or leaf pick, that was what we were doing at that point in time. To now where we're looking to work together with even Pittsburgh on Route 65, or the police commission, or the emergency plan. I mean, these are things that affect all of us, that we all have time. My favorite part of the agenda has always been where committees bring something up. And I've watched over the years where somebody would bring up that's new to government, ask a question of this group, and the knowledge of this group is amazing. What you all know and are willing to share and help others is part of the reason I think the COG exists. And I'd like to thank Patrick because our daily, weekly calls have been amazing, and watching what he does during the week is a lot.
Yeah.
And really, I think we have a gem in Patrick. And I have to thank Julie for stepping up. I mean, it's always nice to have somebody that you respect and you admire that will be taking your place, because the COG will go forward well. And so I have to thank all of you. It's not easy coming to these meetings. And mostly our meetings are done early, just so you know. We all know it's weird when people start looking at their watch that, okay, let's move this one
Anything
along.
before 9 is early.
Yeah, I know.
So the
But it's been a learning experience for me. And I have to say, getting to know all of you from different communities, the respect and the admiration I have for what you do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we have a vacancy in our vice president seat, so we need to elect or appoint, elect, I don't know,
Good point.
assign a new vice president. And thankfully, we have someone who was willing to volunteer, and that is Maria Napolitano from Leedsdale.
Thank you very much, Julie. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you, Barbara, for showing inspiring leadership working in QVCOG. I learned so much from you and from everybody in the organization. Learned tremendous amount about every community in the QVCOG. And again, thank you for this honor of serving in this position. And I pledge to advance the interest of the group and help continue working with Julie, Patrick, and all of you to form the regional coalition, maximizing its benefit to serve its member municipalities.
And one of the nice features of being the president of the QVCOG board is if there's a vacancy in the role of vice president or treasurer, the president shall appoint another delegate to fulfill the remainder of the term. So it's like one of those interesting quirks for bylaws.
Oh,
That's you
so
did
that's
it.
my fault.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I never knew that. Jim.
So no, those-
There you go.
so
That's what you get for not paying attention to the fine print.
I didn't even know that. Okay.
so thank you very much to Maria for
Yes,
stepping up
thank
and
you.
filling this
Yes,
vacancy. I look forward to working with you as well, Maria. And thank you, Daryl, for serving as the treasurer. So we have an
Yeah.
executive board again.
All
Thank
right.
you to whoever made the bylaws and made it very clear on how everything works. I don't know if we
A tiny little letter.
Yeah.
They only updated 5 years ago. That's how late there was somebody on the board that was an attorney. And him and the representative from Kilbuck sat down and
Yeah.
got them updated.
Great.
And the very next meeting, I said, this is a late meeting. Can we go earlier? And he looked, he said, I can't attend a earlier meeting. That's right. Because we used to do it at 7:30, just got late.
Mhm.
That was Matthew Dobler and John Sebastian Delois.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
I almost got asked to leave the board after I suggested moving the time off.
And Roberta says thank you to Barbara for her service.
Well, thank you, Roberta.
Mhm.
Okay, then let's move to our last item under new business, membership inquiry from Swiftly Hills Borough.
Yeah, so following our March 19th board meeting, I had a conversation with an elected representative from Sewickley Hills Borough, Mr. Hunter Hopkins. He was interested in just some of our services, wanted to get to know what we do, what we can offer his community. So I attended their April 8th meeting and just sort of highlighted, who we are, what we do. I got a nice sales pitch from Chief Haney from Ohio Township, who was also in attendance.
Does a good job.
Does a great job, great guy, and gave us a really positive endorsement as well. So at their May 13th meeting, Sewickley Hills Borough voted to formally request membership, pending a final review of our bylaws by their solicitor. I put this on the agenda just in case we got all the materials from them by Monday, and it wasn't able to come through in that regard. So we're gonna put the formal adoption of Sewickley Hills, assuming you guys approve them, on our June board meeting. But they would be our 17th community. Couple little fun facts: they were founded in 1958. Their population 689 residents, and they encompass approximately 2.5 square miles. So exciting news
Yeah.
on that front. So more of a formality, just waiting for those pieces of correspondence from them, but that'll be in June.
Not the new guy anymore.
It was brief.
So
Very
we're
brief.
left, yeah.
1 month.
Better, I like it.
Where did they break that from?
They were never part of a cog. So
Well,
similar.
no, but they must have broke out another community if they waited till 58.
I don't know. That's a good question. Probably a high township, I'd guess. I don't know though.
Okay, well, hopefully we will soon welcome Sewickley Hills Borough. All right, moving on, no old business, is that correct?
Correct.
So we'll move on to concerns by the delegates.
So I'm gonna mix things up because I always go in alphabetical order, and that always means the same person's first and the same person's last. So we'll just go around the room here, then we'll go on Zoom. So Julie, start us off.
Okay, I don't really have anything.
Okay.
Okay,
Anything with Glen Osborne, Barbara?
They lost their mayor and they're trying to figure that one out.
That's pretty big news.
Yeah.
so they have to make an appointment for mayor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and to
Yes.
fill the end of the term.
To
Okay,
the end of the
Yeah.
term, which is, this would have been my election year.
okay,
So it's a brief term
Yes.
for mayor, but
Okay.
we'll see who volunteers. They're
Okay.
asking for volunteers.
okay.
So we'll see. Glenn Osborne, there was something important we did and I forget. So I'll pass it on.
We'll come back around.
Sure.
Lee Township is still quiet. We, at our meeting, we were able to select the court colors for the basketball court and the deck hockey. So that was a lot of fun, a lot of opinions, a lot of things did match and, but anyway, that's up and running and, that's about it.
Very good. Nate,
We have been quiet this year.
Steve,
We got a lot going on. I think, one of the big things, we have our trash contract out for bid. We have 1 year left, so we're trying to get that back, by our June council meeting. We advertised that twice, so, we'll see what comes of that, just to keep us through the rest of this year until there's future opportunities here with QB Cog. Also, we're going through zoning, so we're redoing our zoning, which is about, see, it's over 30 years old, 35 years old. So we've been having, we went through the planning commission process with that back about a couple of years ago and dealt with consultants. Now it's on the hands of the borough council. We've been having working sessions now. I think this is about our 8th or 9th working session to go through line by line. Community is very involved, and a lot of it has been kind of changed and altered, and there's a lot of just trying to make a very cohesive, coherent document. So we have that going on. And then we're also having a park beautification project, which is all encompassing. So if Jill is ever here in my place, she's actually leading up that effort. And that is coming up with a master plan for our park. We have one park, but we've had a lot of over the years, let's play whack-a-mole, we do this, we do that, and it's kind of like, before we spend another dollar on any major capital improvements, let's look at the whole all-encompassing plan. So
Nice.
that's where we're
Good
at.
idea.
and there's quite a lot going on. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, let's noodle up.
Well, we have our first entertainment oriented entity. The
Pickleball.
pitball is spitball.
Oh, that's a whole.
I thought I left that back in high school. Anyway, they're open for business. They've been open now for probably 4 or 5 weeks. I was really keeping my fingers crossed that there would be, some really good activity. I've since it's so close to where I'm living, I swing by, all like that. Well, they're averaging something like 25 to 40 cars.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. They have a 11 courts for the ball, pickleball, and 2 for the paddleball. And then they have another one they showed me, and I went, "What the hell is that?" It's sitting right in on their operation is really done well. Very
good.
Yeah, very, very impressed with it. So I'm very happy, and so I think it's going to be a success.
What's the mystery court?
Oh, the mystery court.
Football.
It's a fairly large building, but right in the center of all the courts. I said, "What's that?" I should not have asked. Anyway, there's this thing. It's probably that long, and on the top of the table they have this wooden structure that goes through, and it looks like a swinging bridge, but it's not. It's wood, and there's a space underneath there, and somehow people throw a ball underneath this groove like that.
Oh.
And I'm going,
Wow.
okay, I'm sorry I asked. I still don't know.
Mystery.
Still a mystery.
It's worth walking in.
Just to see.
Very nice people. Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
On behalf of Ensworth Borough, I'd like to thank you for your work on Michael Brothers to accept yard trash after the windstorm we got. Our one-man DPW kept very busy, and we put a note out for the residents. We got it to the curb. All the residents saw Waste Management was gonna pick these huge piles and branches up that our DPW went around. And we've quit now, but we were between 10 and 11 ton of waste, tree branches, whatever. That went up to Michael's to us for absolutely no cost, or at no cost. And it cleaned it up, made most people happy to get rid of it. They had somebody
Yeah.
helping, so. It's greatly appreciated because we don't have a dump in our borough, so it's greatly appreciated. to have a resource like that, to dump that much material, and it was a lot.
10 tons is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, in branches and weed, but they were very nice when he went up. The people up there helped to get it all unloaded and pushed around, so that's a great resource for us. So thank you, Patrick, for what you did, getting that in order.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
great sales pitch for the whole entire region here. So, their Reserve Township facility has a composting drop off for green waste, right? So, residents and communities that have, green waste that they want to get rid of can drop it off there. And all they have to do is let them know they're with the QB cog. If it's a resident, they can flash their ID, they can look up their address, make sure that they're in the communities they're saying they're in. If it's bigger, just give us a heads up. I can reach out to our contact with them just to let them know that, hey, there's a couple truckloads coming from Emsworth or Sewickley or wherever. So it's a great partnership. It's an informal partnership because there's no charge. We don't want to, poke the bear too much, but I think it's a great partnership. They do great work for us with those glass dumpsters, and they're a great partner to have in times of need. You never know, you might need a waste hauler or a recycling hauler. So they're good to work with. Okay, let's go on Zoom. Just by randomization here, Daryl, you're first.
I've got nothing.
Fair enough. Maria, you're up.
Me?
Yes,
Is that me?
that's you.
Okay. Yeah, so not much going on in Leedsville either. We are preparing for our 4th of July celebration again with a parade happening at 2 o'clock on July 4th. Everybody please come. And we'll have some carnival and some activities in the park afterwards, followed by a couple of band performances and as usual fireworks best seen from Quaker Valley High School property in the back. Borough-wide, well, the one interesting thing is that we have finally got a land development application for the spot where Subway is currently and is about to close in Quaker Valley Shopping Center. So right on the border of Quaker Village Drive, on the corner of Quaker Village Drive and the Ohio River Boulevard, where the Subway was, there will be a car wash. It will be Clean Express Auto Wash, which is a nationwide chain. They'll have, so they just got their land development application approved. And they just have to consolidate. It kind of worked out weird. They have to consolidate the lots still because it belongs to the owners of the whole plaza. They're leasing it for 35 years. So anyways, there will be a brand new car wash there with the place for, I believe, multiple vehicles to kind of go through without blocking traffic or anything, with free vacuums to use for the community. There will be a membership option and the pay as you go option. And it's supposed to be like fully automated, and it's going to be clean and nice, and it's going to really match all the area. So it sounds basically like a really nice development. And so they're looking like they're ready to start and build soon. Meanwhile, the Subway that was there has been working hard on the former Red Cap Cleaners building that is on the corner of intersection of Ferry Street and Ohio River Boulevard in Leedsdale. They have painted it in orange, and if you have gone to Ambridge, you would have seen all the changes that they have made, including looks like they repaved the parking lot and painted all the lines. They have painted the building. Really, looks like they put a lot of work into that, and so that's where Subway is going to go. And one half of the building will be a beer distributor, which also will have an option for a beer garden sit down with some bar food. So interesting. So that's all going to happen, I imagine, pretty soon. There's some changes in that area. All right, I think that's it.
Cheap plug for Clean Express Car Wash. I actually am a member of the one in Whitehall. So it's a very nice car wash. And if you join when they first open, they have a founders club. So this is a little hack. You get their best wash for half off. So you get like the premium wash, $20 a month. You can go every day. You can go twice a day. So I did that. I had no regrets. I bumped down from the premium one after 6 months, but it's a great car wash. They do a really nice job at their sites because once you join one, you can go to all of them. So I've gone to like 2 or 3 of them in the region, and they're always beautifully maintained, like plantings,
Yeah.
and they like take their
And
property.
they have done, I was really, really impressed with their land development plan, how well it was done and how thoughtful and how, because sometimes you see people would rather ask forgiveness than permission in those things, and they just did everything by the book. I was really happy to see that.
Nice.
Mhm.
Good to
And
work with.
people love free vacuums.
Yes.
You will see
Yeah.
those vacuums
Mhm.
all day long. It's incredible. I'm like, well, I don't know why they're like people love them. They love
Yeah,
them.
I belong to the one up in North,
Mhm.
Good
and
stuff.
my car's never been that clean. And I'm up there, I'm vacuuming. I'm so what the hell am I doing? But it's turned into fun.
Mhm. The dog loves it. I take him for a ride to the car wash. Loves it. All right,
Yeah.
Roberta, you're up.
Oops. Well, first of all, can I get in on this free vacuuming? Because I have a stinky teenager and a giant furry dog, so I need details.
You just have to drive to Leedsdale
You
when it's
know-
built, like an.
Don't need one.
Welcome
Well,
to Leedsdale.
yeah, I need to find something quicker, but I'll be down there too. So thank you though that's a great update. I was making notes as you guys were talking because I only had one item, which is I want to thank Patrick because I contacted him sometime earlier this month. Talking about Juneteenth next month being celebrating Juneteenth and also Pride Month. And just a little background, last year, one of my colleagues on council, a couple of my colleagues on council brought this to Avalon Borough Council. Could we recognize them, etc. And there was a lot of back and forth. And while I was not there for the vote, they told me it was shot down, and my vote would not have helped the matter. And so I had brought Juneteenth up again at our borough, one of our committee meetings this month, just mentioning, giving it food for thought. It wasn't a motion or a vote to recognize this federal holiday that really, in the end, um, released all the slaves. There were pockets of slavery long beyond the initial ending of slavery. The message just didn't get out. In case you were unaware, they didn't have electricity or the internet back then. So news was slow to travel. And I just thought it was a really important thing to represent. And I thought maybe it had some teeth with the federal, being a federal holiday. That's why I brought it up and not Pride. And I did just read a statement to put it onto the record. And I didn't have any support really with my Democratic colleagues either. They just were like, we just feel like we know what the vote's going to be, and we're just not interested in the fight. But Patrick was very kind when I said, does the COG recognize it? Can the COG recognize Pride Month as well? And he was all about it. And I sent him a Pride item here in the boroughs. And he said to mention it to you guys as well. If you have any Juneteenth or Pride items going on in your communities, to please reach out, get it on the COG website, and so it'll reach some more people. I just think that like representation is super important. And in fact, my son just asked me this about an hour and a half ago when I came back from my borough council meeting, and he said, "Mommy, why did you run to begin with?" And I said, "Well, for representation, and I feel like uh everyone needs to be represented in our communities, not just quite frankly straight white people, and that's often the case in our communities." So anyways, that's my little comment about that. But Patrick was very open, and yes, let's promote all the people and put that on our website. So thank you, thank you. So if you guys do have stuff, please send it along.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
to Roberta's point, a very underutilized part of our website is the what's happening in our communities. So, Roberta mentioned that there's an event happening in Bellevue to celebrate Pride Month. And yeah, anytime that there's a community event, please let me know. And I'd love to put the Leedsdale 4th of July on here too. Anything that you guys want to promote in your communities to get eyeballs and people and put traffic in your communities, please let me know. And I can always put a little blurb here. So there's a link there to the Pride event in Bellevue. And with it being a federal holiday, I didn't see an issue with putting observance of Juneteenth either. So yeah, please. I always want to promote things in our community. So especially things that are going to be in June. So
Thank you. I have a question about the spot in Reserve Township. Are we allowed to go get compost from them since we're giving them stuff to make the compost?
great question. I would I can ask. I'm not sure if that's a yes or no. So let me ask.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So in good news, I know I've said before that the Avalon Pool is opening. June 14th is still our date. We had to close it last year. Happily, we found grant money. Our DPW is fantastic. They did so much work in-house, and we did have some money left over, and we were allowed to use it. We're getting another slide, and I believe something else was mentioned tonight that we're allowed to use this grant money for. And so many of our community members are happy to have our pool. Bellevue was fabulous last year and, let us use theirs and gave us a good rate for memberships and everything. But ours is walkable, so it really helps a lot of people to be able to get there. So everyone's excited about that. And I'm just going to go to whatever pool my friends are at. If they're at Bellevue, I'm going to Bellevue that day. So let's see, there's something else on here. Our Mayor Jackson tonight also thanked our fire department and DPW and police, etc., of the storms recently and what a fantastic job they've been doing. I don't know what's going on with the weather. Somebody did tell me that we, as a region, have been moved into the tornado alley region. I don't know if that's really, really true or not, but it does seem to be that our weather's getting more severe. And I know our borough, all of our people were fantastic. And so it was nice for our mayor to also give them recognition tonight. And tomorrow, our LGA intern starts, and I believe his main concern this summer is going to be working with the JPC, the Joint Planning Commission. So we're excited to have one of the interns with us this summer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you, Roberta.
Mhm.
You're up. What's new in Bellevue?
Hey everybody. So not much. We're getting ready to kick off our next phase of Streetscape finally. That was supposed to start earlier in the spring, but I guess the weather and whatnot delayed the folks starting. So they said end of May they're gonna get it started. So that will be awesome to get it going and get it get it done hopefully by the end of the summer. And other than that, we did send out a small survey to residents about our home rule charter potential changes. Only had 130, 140 people respond, and the results were mixed. It was a 50-50 on going from 9 council members down to 7 and reducing the residency requirements from 3 years to 2 years. So, both questions was about a 50-50. So it will be interesting to see what happens as we move forward to get it on the ballot for November. Our solicitor, Matt Rakunis, is working on that with the county. So we're going to look at some legislation there. And if everyone agrees, hopefully get that on for November. But that's the two big things right now.
Very exciting. That's interesting with the home rule charter as far as the people's responses. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just interesting to hear. All right, Tavia, what's new with Ben Abbott? we'll circle back to Tavia. Amanda, what's new in Hayesville?
I don't have a whole lot to really update on. However, I do want to just say that Jessica Taylor it will be assisting in my role as the emergency management coordinator for Hayesville. Due to the obligations of my day job, I have not been able to dedicate as much time as I would like to that committee and assisting with that. So Jessica will be helping me in that regard. And I also don't know if anyone else is aware of this, but I recently discovered a Facebook community that is it's called the Swickley Area Traffic and Roadwork Updates. And the reason I find this interesting is because we were told that Swickley police don't report the accidents at the Hazel intersection to the state police or something like that. Somehow it doesn't get communicated. So there was no real way for us to be able to track the accidents, the frequency of the accidents at that intersection. So I have noticed that every time there's an accident, it's posted on in this group. So I felt that that's a great resource to kind of keep track of that. So I just thought I'd share that with everyone. And that's all.
People post pictures and they're like another accident at that light.
Yeah.
And it's a
And they're
Facebook.
Exactly.
Another one tonight as I passed.
There
Oh,
was.
really?
Oh, wow.
Three police car and a
Well,
fire.
see, it's tricky at that
Yeah,
light because Glenn Osborne now owns that light.
Oh, was that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the police go down there, but it depends where the accident, they respond first, usually.
Mm.
But if the accident's over in Hayesville, it's state police.
Mm.
They take
Oh,
over
yeah.
the
I knew
report.
that. I just don't.
Yeah.
Right.
We had somebody killed in Hazelwood last week, 2 a.m. She was
Oh,
from the South
God.
Hills. What she was doing on the boulevard, probably going too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the police went into the details, the trouble they had finding next to Ken, and that was gross enough. But yeah, right there at Hayes, it was high speed, and they had no idea why she was there. Cut a pole in half, her body went 100 yards.
Wow, I didn't hear about that.
No,
It
me
was
neither.
last Thursday.
I mean,
think.
that's another one of the challenges I think about 65 is because there's so many police departments.
Yeah.
Should we say there's 9 police departments or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all our communities, there's 9, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, somber news. Tavia, if you're there, anything in Ben Abbott?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think I have anything.
Okay. Anybody that I didn't call in person or on Zoom?
I just have one question for Nate. I did see that there's now a requirement for dogs to have a permit to go to Swickley Heights Park. Is that right? Off leash
Strictly
dogs.
off leash dogs. So
Okay.
if you're leashed or anything else, nothing. But if you want to have an off leash dog, you require a permit.
So if you went there and you didn't know about that rule, you just put your dog on the leash that day.
Yeah, we have some sign, there's signage in the park
Yeah.
and people, talk a lot up there, so.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
pretty easy to find out.
yeah. I was happy to see that they were still like figuring out a way to allow it.
Yeah, that was
So
kind of,
nice for
that
the
was kind of
dogs.
the ultimate goal to
Yeah.
Have people happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
While also
yeah.
bringing some accountability
Yeah,
to
yeah.
dog owners.
Do
I'm
you-
sorry, Nate. Oh, go ahead. Nate, you're on the committee for the Swickley Hills
Wow.
Dog Park. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
You are on that committee working with the dog leash rules and et cetera?
I mean, I'm the borough manager in Swickley Heights, so I just.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much is the permit? My friend is a frequent user of the park and he's been up there attending your meetings. I don't know if he brings his dog with him, but yeah, he's up there almost every day hiking.
Residents,
Oh,
and then $50 for outside of that.
Okay. So we'll have to get one too, but yeah, he was very appreciative of the meetings and the information as well. Because lots of people use it, not just Swicklians.
Really?
Oh, I know.
thank
I
you.
have one thing from Glenn Osborne.
Barbara,
It's the park in Glen Osborne. And I have to, full disclosure, that the last part of the fence for for Mary Roberts Reinhardt Park that's on Weaver Road
Mhm.
is being installed.
Hmm.
And my son created that artwork on the fence, but the last piece of the fence has some bats in it because she is the originator of Batman.
Yeah.
Oh,
And there's saying on, he put in that last piece, every fence piece, there's a secret saying.
Mhm.
I don't know what this is. He's told me I had to find it. So there you go. But
I was reading a novel and that she came up in that novel and I went, what?
she was I've read her books
Yeah.
long ago. But yeah, she was a mystery writer and she wrote every time she needed money. And it's Reinhardt Publishing is an outgrowth of her and her sons in New York City.
Hmm.
Little known fact.
Yes, little known
Good
fact.
time.
You drive past the little known fact almost 3 times a day.
I know, I know. All right.
Barbara, this is why we can't let you go. So I nominate and say we're changing the charter and Barbara's staying with us forever.
Well, thank you for that thought. No. Time to pass on the buck, but I'm so happy with the cog as it is and where it's going. I really am.
All right, we're all done with our delegates. All right, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see everyone.